Hello, quick disclaimer before we get into the episode. There will be minor kid noise in the background for some of this episode. Apologies in advance and hope you enjoy the episode. Hello, I'm Nikki.
And I'm Jess.
She's the traumatized.
And she's the abandoned. And welcome to our podcast.
Where we talk about true crime, spooky things, and everything in between.
And today we're going to be talking about some conspiracy theories.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm excited about. But how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Nice.
I don't think I've done anything this week besides edit the podcast.
It's more than what I've done.
Yeah, how have you been? Let's talk about it.
I have COVID. This is my normal voice. All the voices before this have been fake. This is me. No. Yeah, my husband and I got COVID. So, been dealing with that. But I feel better today. Yesterday was the first day I woke up. It was like, I'm a human. And then today I feel even better, even though I don't sound like it.
Eventually, Jess will be full health for one of our episodes that
Literally.
we record.
Literally, I will. I was like, God damn it, I just got healthy. And I was like, seriously, with this? As I popped my cream saver. You were making fun of me. You were calling me an old grandma because I was eating cream savers. Bitch. Guys, OG people. I might be showing my age here. Fucking cream savers are so good. I don't want to be sucking on a cough drop. I'm gonna suck on a cream saver. Anyway.
You know, like Hall's cough drops, the Breeze cough drops are basically the same thing. So you could.
No. These taste so much better. Those Halls taste like ass.
Fun fact of the day.
COVID sucks. Okay, so today's fun fact is that the actors who voiced Mickey and Minnie Mouse actually got married in real life.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Isn't it?
Also,
Isn't that
another
adorable?
fun fact, Mickey Mouse was actually a bunny before he became a mouse.
All right, guys, conspiracy theories. We're going to go.
Conspiracy theories. All right, so I'm going first, as always, and my conspiracy theory, I don't know how to, like, disclaimer,
Bad things happen.
body parts. I don't go into
Dismemberment?
detail, but like, yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
So,
Okay.
my story today takes place in the 1950s America. The former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill described America at this time. America at this moment stands at the summit of the world. And this was pretty much true, with America being the first to make nuclear weapons and also the first to actually use them against an enemy. The United States was the world's strongest military power at this time. And its economy was booming, hence the name for the generation was baby boomers, because everything was booming. Economy was booming, baby making was booming. Unlike today,
Right.
which is why our government is trying to fuck with us. That's another conspiracy theory, but we'll save that for another time.
I do say I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories because I was talking to Tim. He was like, "Well, what kind of conspiracy theory are you going with?" Because I think both of us try to stay away from the political conspiracy theories because there are a lot of them,
There are.
and I think we both kind of avoided those pretty well because it's just like, we want to keep it kind of lighthearted.
Not today. Today I went full government, full.
Oh, you
tin
did?
hat. Yeah. This is about the government.
I didn't know that. Oh no.
I don't.
Never mind. Buckle up.
I was telling my husband about it because, like, just as a conversation, he's like, "Leave me out of this. Like, I don't want nothing to do with it. If you're,
Oh my god,
the government's
so the
gonna hunt
FBI
us
might
down."
come to us. Okay, cool. I'm ready.
Yeah, so I went full tin hat on this, but
I'm so excited. I wish you would have told me. I could have gone that way too. Then no,
No.
mine's so lighthearted. So I'll bring us back up.
Yeah. So, where was I? Yeah, economy booming, babies booming, everything. Right.
Booming.
because America was not affected by the World War like the rest of the world. The fighting was never on American soil. Therefore, there was no devastation that America had to recover from. Basically, America profited heavily off of this World War. I mean, because they did. But this is also the time where the American dream was born, with like the economy booming. People had the money to buy stuff. So they would buy new cars, they would buy new homes, unlike today, which again, we cannot do very well.
No.
The dream of moving to the suburbs and growing a family was at the forefront of most American minds. But most of that was kind of like for the white families, because the 1950s is also when the civil rights movement started gaining traction.
Okay.
People of color had been fighting for centuries for equal rights, but during this time is when the struggle against racism and segregation entered mainstream American life. So this is like the time where the schools started being integrated, the Rosa Parks and the bus movement, like all of that started like hitting mainstream. And the acts of nonviolent resistance in the 1950s helped shape the civil rights movement for the next decade. The 1950s also had a plethora of pop culture. The average family could afford televisions, so most US families had one in their home, thus entering the golden age of television, being born with family-friendly shows like I Love Lucy, The Twilight Zone, and Leave It to Beaver. The 1950s also saw the emergence of rock and roll with Elvis Presley, Sam Cooke, and so many more.
Right.
Just all around a positive era, I would say. Right?
Good vibes.
Good vibe. Good vibes.
I don't like how you're prefacing this, though. It's making me feel like there's not good vibes out there.
So with all that being at the forefront, you know, the in front of the curtain, what's going on behind the curtain was a bit more troubling.
Listen, if Wizard of Oz has taught us anything, it's not to look behind the curtain, Nikki. So we shouldn't do that.
So I should just stop there.
Right.
End of story.
Episode over.
Wrong. So things were going on behind the scenes, like tension between the United States and Soviet Union, known as the Cold War. Also, the effects of nuclear fallout, because what did we just do? Do a lot of nuclear shit.
Yep.
The effects of nuclear fallout on the human body became of great concern.
Yeah, I've seen this movie.
And there were rumors that the US government was supposedly body snatching to accumulate human tissue to undergo radioactive testing. But they're just rumors, right?
Is your conspiracy theory The Hills Have Eyes? Is that what we're talking about?
I've never seen The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, guess what we're watching for our next movie night?
God damn it.
That's right. It's like literally one of my favorite worst scary movies ever.
Oh God.
But The Hills Have Eyes, literally, the whole premise of it is they like stumble upon this town that they did nuclear testing on, and the people became
mutant or whatever,
mutated, and like started to eat people. So that's literally the entire premise of it.
Interesting. Yeah. So there were rumors that the U.S. government was stealing bodies to test human tissue and the how radioactivity
like off the street, or like. Are you gonna get there? You're gonna get there.
Great, you know, like graves, you know.
Oh, like already dead people.
Yeah, already dead people. Yeah, body snatching, like definition is like going to a grave and stealing it.
Somehow my brain's like that's better, but it's not.
But those are just rumors, right?
No. It was proven.
Nearly 50 years later, this outlandish and horrifying conspiracy would actually be proven to be true.
How did they prove it? Why? Okay, keep going.
In the
There's some big questions.
1990s, the U.S. government's Advisory Committee on Human Radiation Experiments looked into a whole range of Department of Energy projects and or related scandals involving the use of human beings in radiation tests from the 1940s to the 1970s. So, from what I read, President Bill Clinton, ordered an investigation into these claims, and that's who did the investigation, the Advisory Committee on Human Radiation Experiments, or also known as ARC.
Okay.
ACHR. I'm just gonna call it ARC. If I'm wrong,
Yeah,
it's fine. And so they went into like the Department of Energy and they investigated things and stuff. Well, this investigation resulted in the surfacing of the Sunshine Files. Doesn't that sound so pleasant?
No, it doesn't, because I'm acidic, and that is just that instantly gets me like.
So, to be specific, a particular memorandum dated June 9th, 1995, that was prepared by ARC's advisory committee staff was released. So this is kind of a memorandum from one of their findings.
Okay.
They didn't release all of it. They just released this one, to my understanding. And it was titled Documentary Update on Project Sunshine Body Snatching.
That's inconspicuous.
And I actually have a couple inserts from the actual memorandum because I was able to find it online.
Nice.
So I have like direct words from it. And this is one of them. As part of Project Sunshine, which sought to measure strontium, I hope I said that right, 90, the AEC, or Atomic Energy Commission, engaged in an effort to collect baby bones from domestic and foreign sources.
You need to bring babies into those.
I did warn you last week that it included babies.
Did. Okay, keep going. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
So, going off of what you said, just rip the Band-Aid off?
Rip it off. Take it off. The Band-Aid.
It's funny you say that because I'm actually going to put a pause on it real quick.
No, can you not, though?
I am. So I can kind of explain a little bit what strontium 90 is.
Okay.
Because that's what they were testing for.
Okay.
So strontium 90 is a radioactive isotope of strontium produced by nuclear fission. Strontium 90 has applications in like medicine and industry, but it is also an isotope of concern in fallout from nuclear weapons, nuclear weapon testing, and nuclear accidents.
Interesting. Okay.
Strontium 90 is classified as high-level waste. Its 29-year half-life means that it can take hundreds of years to decay into negligible levels.
Right.
So exposure from contaminated water and food may increase the risk of leukemia and bone cancer.
Wow. Okay.
So from what I read, my understanding is that if it gets introduced into the human body, it acts kind of like calcium, but in like a bad way.
Huh. Okay. Okay.
So obviously, with the amount of atomic bombs being tested in and around the US at this time, there was great concern for if and how the radiation would be affecting the environment and the human population.
Right. Okay.
Which brings us back to Project Sunshine. And I have another excerpt from the memorandum.
Okay.
The project involved the use of a cover story, those without clearance being told that the skeleton collection would be used to study naturally occurring radiation and not that from fallout. So they were collecting these samples and telling people that it's natural radiation. It's not because we've been blowing shit up for a while.
Right. It's not that we've been testing. Okay. All right. Huh.
So key participants in Project Sunshine at its onset was AEC, so American Energy Commission's Division of Biology and Medicine, whose director was John Boger. It's Bugher. Columbia University's Dr. J. Lawrence Culp.
Okay.
And the University of Chicago's Dr. Willard Libby, who Libby became the AEC's commissioner, so the Atomic Energy Commissioner. So Dr. Libby is kind of like the head honcho of this, and he was an American chemist, and he's most known for his assistance in 1949 in developing radiocarbon dating. So like carbon dating for like which revolutionized archaeology and paleontology. So he was kind of like part of that. Also,
that was like solid proof of like how old fossils were and shit like that, right?
Yeah. So also during World War II, he was involved in the Manhattan Project, and we all know the Manhattan Project had the atomic bombs stuff. So the memorandum I spoke of earlier refers to Dr. Willard Libby and his work in more detail, because within the memorandum, there is a 1955 transcript classified as secret, and it sheds more light on the role of tissue sampling in Project Sunshine. The transcript shows that from the early to mid 1950s, considerable thought had been devoted to the best ways to establish channels to procure human samples, and that's in quotation marks.
Ew.
And the impact of the secrecy of the effort. So I actually have an excerpt of what Dr. Libby stated in this transcript. Okay. Are you ready?
I've never been more ready.
By far the most important, and there's a gap whether the transcript didn't pick up this word or whatever, but is human samples. We have been reduced to essentially zero level on the human samples. I don't know how to get them, but I do say that it is a matter of prime importance to get them, and particularly in the young age group.
Okay.
He would go on to then say, we were fortunate, as you know, to obtain a large number of stillborns as material. This supply, however, has been cut off also, and shows no sign, I think, of being rejuvenated, which then he continued to say, so human samples are of prime importance, and if anybody knows how to do a good job of body snatching, they will really be serving their country.
Ew. Disappointment. Okay.
The transcript within the memorandum then goes on to discuss the need for secrecy about the project, and also discuss the idea of procuring samples from across the world. So I didn't want to enter all of that in here, but basically from that moment on, they go into talking about how to create these channels, where to get the samples from, just all of those details. At this point, it is believed that the Atomic Energy Commission was already obtaining cadavers from across the US illegally. So they basically just extended that and set up a worldwide network to acquire tissue samples and even body parts. Some of the places that I know for sure participated: Australia, Canada, England, and some other countries within Europe.
Jesus, okay.
It is said that a British newspaper placed the spotlight on British scientists who were sending children's bodies, bones, and various body parts to the United States for this classified project. All this information came out in Britain basically at the same time as it did in America in the 1990s.
Okay.
In 1995, a British documentary, Deadly Experiments, they interviewed a woman, Jean Pritchard, a British mother of a stillborn baby whose legs were removed by British hospital doctors in 1957. Gross. And she was forbidden to dress her daughter for her funeral to prevent her from finding out what happened. Yeah, so basically, because she was stillborn, the mother wanted to put her in her christening dress because she was never christened, and they wouldn't let her.
So that's so sad that They should have asked. I mean, I don't know. I feel like
I think most
I don't
people
know.
say no.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Because if it was for like a good cause, like if I did have a stillborn, if once I had the funeral, whatever I was gonna do with it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it would help me knowing that like it was going that my pain and suffering would be helping somebody else. You know
Well,
what I
yeah,
mean?
that's like if you're an organ donor. Like I'm an organ donor.
I
My
am
husband
too.
is not. My husband is not because basically our healthcare system is corrupt. You know, they're gonna people who are gonna get the organs are gonna pay a hefty amount. But I'm like, yeah, I get that. You know, it's corrupt and the doctors make too much money off of it. But at the same time,
I don't need them.
if my body can help, if like my parts can help somebody else live, that doesn't matter to me. I don't care about the
And like I'm not gonna need them.
yeah.
You know? No, I'm the same way.
But
And like, yeah, I definitely think going political, I definitely think our healthcare needs help. Like, I think there's a lot of, I think it was like an average stay in the hospital for a woman giving birth. She had a C-section. It was like $75,000. Like, she gave birth. It was $75,000.
and the government is wondering why this generation doesn't want to give babies. They can't have babies. They can't afford a house, let alone afford having an actual child.
Like Tim and I are eventually like we're trying. I have my health insurance. He actually has a secondary health insurance through like Aflac for hospital stays. So whatever my primary health insurance doesn't have, his secondary would pick up. Like for hospital stays only. I think it's like very finite. But like say I got COVID. Obviously I have COVID. Say I had to go to the hospital again and I had to get hospitalized again. My insurance would carry most of it, but then I still would be stuck with like, you know, whatever the copay was plus whatever. Luckily we're able to have something to cover us.
Right.
But the majority of people don't have that. Like they don't have that luxury, and it sucks.
Anyways, so that was in Britain. Vancouver, Canada heavily participated in the Project Sunshine. Sending over 127 bodies to the United States.
Damn, and these are all babies? Or
no,
just like
well, so okay, like from Canada, the average age of the deceased were like 34 to 87. So they were kind of like sending over the older age group. But like what Dr. Libby wanted is he wanted the young age group because those are the ones that he believed were affected the most by radiation, because obviously like being in the mother's womb and whatnot, and
right
they're the ones that are going to be growing within the radiation. So that's why he put importance on younger age group.
I mean, it makes sense. It doesn't make it right.
Right. So it was also reported that more than this is kind of like the numbers part of it. It was reported that more than 1,500 bodies of deceased babies and children were taken from families in Australia and Europe without consent. So that's kind of like overall number. Throughout the project, over 9,000 samples were taken. Some will say they believe up to 6,000 cadavers may have been stolen from various locations where they were buried and shipped to the United States. So they were literally like grave robbing on top of like taking stuff from like hospitals. And
yeah. Damn.
Though the project at the time was intended to save lives and benefit the human race, it shows the lengths at which the government is willing to go and the secrecy in which it is. It tends to conduct itself. And that's Project Sunshine.
Oh, Project Sunshine sounds so happy, and it's just not. Sad and scary and terrifying.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
something.
I wanted to touch base. I mean, that was one of the conspiracy theories I was gonna do, but it's just too much.
What?
There's a whole thing that's coming out just recently admitting to like UFO sightings and like the government's hidden for years and years. Like area was it 51 actually exists. Like it is like, and there are things that are starting to come out from like the 70s and 80s that actually fucking happened, and like they're just hiding it all, and it's just like, I don't know. I get on one hand, you're trying to hide the hysteria. You're not trying to scare people for no reason. But on the other hand, it's like, I would like to know.
Right. And it's like something with as important as like radiation and nuclear fallout. We've seen how disastrous it can be and how much of a threat it is to human life. So like if it's that important that you need to do like research on and stuff like that, fucking get people out of wherever you are doing that stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
clear that
like,
shit out, dude. Don't.
Yeah, it just the and I mean it's probably not just our government that does shady shit and hides it. Like it's all governments for the most part. I mean, just look how many were actually involved in art in this project. Australia,
Right,
Canada,
exactly. The UK,
Europe.
Too much shady shit, dude. Speaking of aliens,
we're doing aliens.
I am. So here's the thing, and it's something that's always interested me. There are so many things that have occurred around the planet that, like, to me, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
For humans to have the knowledge to build these things, and to have the means. So I'm doing my conspiracy.
About the pyramids?
I'm doing, so I couldn't do just one because there's not a lot of so I'm actually doing a couple of things that I think the aliens had a hand in, if not built.
For your research, did you watch Aliens on the History Channel? Oh my god, you did.
It's ancient aliens, actually. And the guy, aliens. Yes. Aliens. I did. Only for a couple. Like, there were just a couple that, like, I couldn't get a lot of information on. And so I did. I think I mentioned it a couple times. All
right, I'm ready.
But I mean, you think about it. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've seen, like, the NASA. Space super interests me because it's literally never ending. And it's, like, mind-boggling to think about how big our galaxy is, but yet how small it is compared to, like, other galaxies that we know are out there. And, like, it's insane. And, like, for me to, like, break that down and be like, oh, we're the only species that's ever, like, had sentient. No, there's no fucking way that, like, that we're the only, like, species that has developed some sort of, like, sentient being. Like, there has to be other life out there. There has to, like, it,
yeah.
But anyways, call me crazy. That's my conspiracy theory. But anyway, so I want to start with the Nazca lines. Have you heard of these?
No.
Nazca lines are located on a high and dry plateau, some around 200 miles southeast of Lima. Some of them are more than
Chile? Okay.
Some are more than 800 feet long. They're straight, white lines that are etched into the Peruvian desert. So alongside those lines, there are also 300 geometric shapes and over 70 figures of animals, including a spider, a monkey, and a hummingbird. The longest of these lines runs straight as an arrow for miles. The biggest shape is stretched nearly 1,200 feet across and are best viewed from the sky.
So are these, like, are they, like, in the ground? Are they, like...
I'm about to explain it.
Okay. All right.
No, you're fine. It's super interesting, and, like, that was one of my first things. So, like, how the fuck are these, like, whatever. So scientists, you know, the people who don't believe in aliens, suspect that the drawings may be as old as 2 millennia, and because of their age, size, and visibility from above, they're very... And well, no, sorry, rewind that. My brain's not braining.
Yeah, first of all, what's a millennia again? Is that a million?
I don't know.
years?
I think so. 1,000 years.
1,000. Okay. Okay.
Scientists suspect that the Nazca drawings are as old as 2,000 years old. Does that make sense? I don't think it made sense. And because of their age, size, visibility from above, and mysterious nature, these lines are often cited as one of the best examples of alien handiwork on Earth. So these drawings are now known as geoglyphs.
Okay.
And the designs are actually made by removing the top rust-colored layer of the rocks that exposes the bright white sand underneath. So that's how they were able to replicate them.
So the ground is just rocks?
Mm-hmm. So they like scrape off the top, and they scraped off the top layer.
Right.
Which exposed the white sand underneath. And that's what makes the lines. But the biggest question is, why? Why would anybody do this? One, they're really only able to be seen from above. Like you can get on top of a hill and kind of see it.
How is like erosion not like made them disappear?
It's a great question. They don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know.
Okay.
Who would think to design something this massive,
right?
This random, that's really only able to be viewed from the sky?
Yeah.
Like it makes no sense. And scientists think they're over 2,000 years old. So it's not like somebody was like, oh, there's drones out now, or these would be cool to be seen from an airplane. Like, nah, bitch, these were made way before airplanes were a thing.
Right.
Like, these are old. No. It's creepy. It's weird.
That's weird.
And
that's weird.
There's a lot of weird things that are going to happen, and it's fine.
Sus.
That's why I'm doing it. All right, so the next one is the Egyptian pyramids, by the way. So the Egyptian pyramids are located just outside Cairo in Giza. They were built more than 4,500 years ago and are known as monumental tombs where ancient queens and pharaohs were buried. So the Great Pyramid is made of 1 million stones weighing at least 2 tons each. And it's said that even with today's cranes and other construction equipment, building a pyramid as big as that of Pharaoh, of the main Pharaoh, Khufu. Is that it?
Khufu?
Nice. Okay. It would be extremely difficult with today's technology.
Right.
Scientists are still not quite sure how the ancient Egyptians were able to build the pyramids, especially how they did it so quickly. Like there's theories and stuff, but there's more. And then there's the astronomical configuration of the pyramids, which is said to align with the stars in Orion's belt. Also,
okay, but we know that ancient civilizations look to the stars for a lot of their things.
Okay, explain this one then.
Okay.
If you look and compare these pyramids to the others that were built centuries later, they are in much better shape. The other ones have fallen apart or been destroyed by weather, and these haven't eroded away. Much like the lines. Why haven't the lines gone away?
Have they tested the stones to see if there's any
Some scientists say it's like, okay, well, they're bigger and prettier and people have taken better care of them. That doesn't convince you. Elon Musk recently tweeted that he fully believes that they were created and designed by aliens. So there's that.
It's fucking Elon Musk, though. Come on. This dude, ugh. I think he faked his Tesla in space thing. Because there was a flash of a green screen, in the middle of the live stream.
Yikes, you can't be flashing green screens. What are you doing? Damn. Anyway. I mean, so that's actually kind of what started me on this adventure was the Great Pyramids, because it just doesn't. And I watched Prince of Egypt. I understand that they had, they had slaves and they were able to use they had pulleys, they had
right. But that'd be like lifting Rosie the shark over and over again, because she was 2 tons, right?
And that's each brick. is 2 tons.
But like, okay, so if you say that aliens helped with the pyramids, then are you also saying that the aliens helped with the Greeks with building their monuments and whatnot? Because their monuments are just as large, and if not, I know I don't remember specifically what the statue was, but in one of the like port cities, there was like the statue of a figure, like so many, it's like so tall, like a skyscraper height.
Maybe. I'm just saying. I have a couple more.
I know.
I have 3 more.
I'm just saying, if the aliens helped here, did they help in other civilizations
I think
too?
so. Absolutely. I have 3 more examples of different civilizations.
So if they did that, why aren't they doing that now? Like, where are they now?
Would you want to help us?
I mean, what's different between that civilization and the civilization now?
I mean, the fact that we've kind of completely fucked over the earth is gonna die out eventually. And there's a whole conspiracy theory that the sun's gonna explode in like 1,000 years or something anyways.
Well,
so,
the sun is a star and stars explode. So
and our solar system is theoretically dying, which I'm not gonna even go into that, but
hopefully we'll be long gone by then.
This is the fun part of the podcast, by the way. We talk about our inevitable doom. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're here. They're actually one of the other examples I have. There was a recent sighting of a UFO. They're called something else now. They're not called UFOs anymore. I forgot what they're called now. Anyway, my next example, Stonehenge. Listen, I didn't give you one disappointed huff when you were talking about your babies. All right, so
I was just gonna say, don't get it twisted. Like I kind of believe, you know, like I'm not, but I'm voicing for the skeptics. Okay, I'm here for you guys.
Hear me out.
I'm trying to poke the holes, you know.
I'm not like full on, like I am not closed off from this. If you want to talk about it, I'm post a comment, say how crazy I am. It's fine.
Right.
I'd love to talk about it. Anyway, so hear me out. Stonehenge is a huge circle of stones, some weighing as much as 50 tons.
It's a lot of tons.
Sit in an English countryside right outside of Salisbury. The Neolithic monument actually inspired a Swiss author, Erich von Däniken. Okay. I'm so sorry. Däniken. I don't know what it is. To suggest that it was a model of the solar system. Also, he thought it also might be a alien landing pad.
Okay, let's go back to the whole, how does that look like our solar system?
From above.
And I'm assuming we don't have a picture from above. Okay, secondly, landing pad? How is this a landing pad?
We'll get there.
Okay.
Today, scientists have demonstrated that it would be possible to build such a thing using technologies that may have been around 5,000 years ago. However, no one knows why they would do this or what exactly the meaning of Stonehenge is. There is no written history or record regarding why the stones were placed that way. And I mean, some of these massive stones that weighed up to 50 tons were moved over 100 miles away. So why would you bring a stone that weighed, it's the average of 30 tons, 100 miles away to bring it here to stand it up? The theory is that they were simply burial grounds, but that has recently been disproven.
There's no bodies.
As a secondary super henge has been discovered.
What?
As well as what they are now calling Woodhenge. Superhenge are remains of a massive stone monument 15 times the size of Stonehenge and located just 2 miles, which is 3.2 kilometers away from the famous site. And that was recently discovered when British archaeologists were digging and found random stones that were stood upright.
Where? Like underground?
2 miles.
Underground? How? What?
They were covered by erosion. They weren't as big. They're not as big.
So what,
But
they're
the
bigger in
stones-
circumference?
15 times the size is taking the circumference and expanding it out, not making it taller. It was
Okay, I was like,
broadening.
how has the second hinge been hidden for years?
Super hinge, and it was discovered it's a partial circle. So the stones that would have been exposed are no longer there, which could have been cause for erosion or people moving them. I don't know. But the semicircle was found underground, and they were able to like superimpose like the rest of the circle, and it would have been 15 times the size of Stonehenge.
How did they know that something was there? Like, why were they digging
They
there?
didn't.
What
They
were
were
they
just digging. The British archaeology, like, they were just digging. I think they were trying to find something, and they ended up discovering this.
Wow. So there's like no like natural tribes or like people who like lived in this era or like in this area.
There were. That's why they were thinking it would have been a burial site, the original Stonehenge. But as they also found another place that was close by called Woodhenge, that they're calling now Woodhenge.
Is it made of wood?
It was. So the three that were close
I'm
together
sorry.
like that,
I'm
they were
sorry. Y'all are so original with your name.
Superhenge, Stonehenge, and Woodhenge. Yes. What's interesting, and I might actually touch base on this. I think I will. Now they actually replaced the original timber posts with concrete markers because the timber posts were almost completely gone.
Obviously.
But in the video that I was watching, they they superimposed like what Woodhenge would have looked like, and it looked almost like an altar.
Jesus. Well, maybe that's what these were. Maybe they were altars for sacrifice. Because Stonehenge has like a thingy in the middle, does it not?
I don't think so. I think it's just the ones on the outside.
Oh.
However, going back to Superhenge, the stones were found buried beneath the bank of Durrington Walls, which is now one of the largest known hinges in the United Kingdom. Superhenges.
Okay.
So Woodhenge was probably built around 2500 BC. It was formed of 6 concentric ovals of standing posts, and then surrounded by a bank and a ditch. The site was discovered by an aerial photograph in 1925 when rings of dark spots were spotted in a crop of wheat. Today, they replaced the original timber posts with the concrete markers because they were literally just deteriorating.
Wait, so was a farmer just like farming around it?
Them? I don't know if he thought they were trees. I don't know.
Okay. Interesting.
It has been proven that the stones are aligned with solstices and eclipses, suggesting that Stonehenge builders were keeping an eye on the sky, or maybe
aliens.
It's so funny because like literally when I was doing this research, I did have to watch a couple of the Ancient Aliens, and every time I pull it up, Tim was behind me going, aliens. And I was like, oh my god, I'm one of those people now. Okay, so the next one we're gonna go is Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan. I practiced saying this so many times. Yes. Do you know
this is a city, right? Yes. This is interesting.
Okay. Oh, now it's interesting. Cool. Okay. So Teotihuacan, which does translate to City of the Gods, is a massive ancient city in Mexico that is best known for its pyramidal temples and astronomical alignments. It was built more than 2,000 years ago, and because it was built more than 2,000 years ago, its age, size, and complexity can make it seem outer-worldly. Scientists suspected that over centuries, a mix of cultures, including Mayan, Zapotec, and Mixtec, built the city that could house more than 100,000 people. With its murals, tools, transportation system, and evidence of advanced agricultural practices, Teotihuacan is often considered much more technologically developed than it should have been possible in pre-Aztec Mexico. By far, one of its most well-known buildings is the massive Pyramid of the Sun, which is one of the largest such constructions in the Western Hemisphere. The pyramid's curious alignment is believed to be based on the calendrical cycles, which I looked that up. And it's actually a 60-year cycle that follow the Tibetan calendar. This is where the aliens guy comes into play. So there's actually been a long history of UFO sighting around the city. There was an example given in the show called Ancient Aliens. It was season 12, episode 7, where their 2 UFOs were photographed. Some thought that they may have been mylar balloons, which I had to look that up too. Those are the aluminum balloons, because that's what they kind of look like. However, in another photo taken just 15 seconds later, it showed the objects were completely gone. They said in the show this was disproving the mylar theory, or that it could be anything man-made, because what could disappear from a camera shot in 15 seconds? Okay, well, they could have popped. However, what's really interesting is only 10% of the city has actually been excavated so far.
Mm-hmm.
That means there's 90% of the city that hasn't been discovered yet. And some say that as we discover more, it could give us hints as to why and how the city was created and thrived.
Yeah, this city is definitely one of interesting study, because it's like it was this giant city and it was mixed cultures of everybody, and then they just disappeared.
Yep,
they left the
just
city,
gone.
just insane. This one's interesting.
Yeah. So, and I didn't realize it was so large, and it's literally like towns, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
And the fact, like, the multicultural thing, like, that was so ahead of its time.
And
Just
a transportation system?
Yeah, and the transportation. Like, insane. Insane.
It was definitely, and even scientists have said it's like, it was definitely ahead of its time.
Right.
So my question is like, why? That, and it's also very interesting to me, is why were pyramids so common? Why is the pyramid shape something that is found? I think it's literally found on every continent. I don't know. It's just aliens.
Aliens.
Every time I say that for listeners, I realize I'm doing that for YouTube. I'm literally putting my hands up beside my head like the aliens guy does. Okay, so my last one is going to be Rapa Nui, aka Easter Island.
Yep. Yeah, that was coming.
Only because
Wait, it's a crater.
It is a crater.
What?
I had no idea before I started looking into it. There's literally a huge ass crater on the island, and the heads are not heads.
I see that.
What the?
Okay, let's go. Let's dive in.
So just a quick synopsis. I looked into Easter Island, and I literally started like looking into how I could go visit it, because it is the island is breathtaking. It's so beautiful.
Where is it located?
It's actually off the coast of Chile.
Okay. It's
kind of like if you were at Hawaii and go like kind of south and a little bit of east, it's like that way, but it's like off the coast of Chile. So Rapa Nui is the most remote inhabited island on the planet. It is tiny. Approximately 8,000 people live there. And like, obviously you just saw the pictures. First of all, I didn't know there was a huge ass crater in the middle of it. It's also gorgeous. And yeah, I definitely put it on my bucket list. Anyway, the island actually has some interesting tales. It's history, possible cannibalism. And bloodshed.
Okay.
And powerful spirits. But it is definitely most well known for the mystical and monumental structures of the Easter Island heads. I'm going to say Napa Nui heads. One may be wondering why the island is known as Easter Island. Well, that's due to a Dutch explorer who first encountered this mythical island on Easter Sunday in 1722. However, Rapa Nui, which means land's end, is believed to have been populated by the Polynesians between 700 and 1100 AD.
Is there still like native tribes there? Okay.
I know that's like a super brief history of the island. I'm really trying to stay focused because
on the aliens. Okay.
The mysterious monolithic bodies called moais are crafted out of tough stone, which is actually volcanic ash. And it makes so much more sense. In Minecraft, I thought tough was made up. I thought they just didn't know what to call it, so they called it tough. It's real. It's volcanic ash.
Jess, Jess,
Mm-hmm.
most
Mhm.
things in
Uh-huh.
Minecraft
Uh-huh.
are based off of real things.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Like there's actually mud in the real world. So-
Oh yeah, you're gonna be a smartass. Is there an Ender dragon? Are there Ender people? Endermen? No. Creepers? Well, there are creepers.
There are creepers.
There are creepers. But yeah, no, I totally didn't think tough was like a real thing until I was reading this. And I was like, oh, it's volcanic ash. That makes sense. So some say the structures were already there when the original king arrived to the island. Although we'll never actually know if this is the case. That was like the story. So they are built on the road to the sacred volcano on ceremonial ground. The structures may have existed to pay respect to the dead, who protected and provided for the living from their spirit world. Other theories suggest that the structures honor living chiefs or shield them from evil. There are almost 900 human figures sprinkled along the flanks of the island's extinct volcanoes. While the average of the Mauis are 13 feet tall, weighing around 14 tons, the largest statue weighs 75 tons, which I did a conversion for all you American listeners. That is 165,347 pounds. So literally, if you cut the Statue of Liberty in half, that's how much one of these would weigh.
Cheap. Okay.
And that one stands about 10 meters tall, which is approximately 32 feet tall.
Wow. Okay.
Interestingly enough, there are also more than 400 statues that are still in various states of construction, while some completed figures sit while waiting transportation to their intended resting places. So they just stopped working on them.
Wow.
So theorists say that either three things happened to get these statues placed and created.
Okay.
The first one is that the original chief of the island, the original chiefs, were thought to have supernatural psychic powers known as the mana, and that the sorcery helped transport the statues, or the statues walked themselves to the final resting places using this power. The second one is aliens. I mean,
okay.
come on now.
I mean, which is more believable at this point? Magic powers or aliens?
Like how so there is proof that they were created somewhere and then transported somewhere. So you're talking about cutting the Statue of Liberty in half and moving it across the island.
Right.
However, there has been some studies done that the heavy sacred structures could be moved with the help of wooden plates and rollers. So, whatever. Stupid logical people making sense of it. But my thing is, why? I mean, there are almost 900 human figures sprinkled along, like...
I mean, why does anyone do anything?
Right? Maybe, I mean, it could be religion and protection.
Right. Maybe it's not necessarily graves, but acts as gravestones. Like my family member died, and here's an honor of him, because they could what is it, do like the funeral pyres where they like burn the body, so they don't really have anything to go and talk to their significant other, so they have statues. I can see that as a plausible,
but you see how fucking big they are.
Yeah, I mean,
like you see the people standing. I mean, the one picture, there's somebody standing on top of it, and this thing is at least 5 people length.
What else are they gonna do with their time? They don't have TV, they don't have podcasts, they don't have, things to take up their time. So like working and maybe building statues was what they used to fill their void.
Oh man. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
That's interesting. Aliens. So is there more into the aliens theory as to why the aliens would have done this? It's just aliens.
No. It's just aliens.
Aliens.
There's never an explanation as to why the aliens would do these things, but it's just interesting because it's like, why not? You know. Maybe they were building them in their image. Maybe they were viewed as their gods.
Right.
I don't know.
So
that's it for me.
So do you think aliens did all these things?
If they didn't do them, I feel like they definitely helped organize it. I think I mean, the lines were extremely interesting to me because why would somebody
Right.
go out in the middle of the desert and draw a hummingbird
Well, also, like, why?
or a
Okay,
monkey?
so, like, my thing to that is, how would the aliens know about those certain species? Had they had traveled the entire Earth and seen a
I mean, I think
monkey?
so. Yeah, then saw like a blank slate of desert and was just like, yeah, let's draw here. Let's make something pretty.
Let's make something pretty.
I don't know.
My whole
It's
things
weird.
my whole things with the lines is the that erosion hasn't destroyed them.
Or
So
gotten
that's
rid of them. I
interesting.
mean,
Yeah.
some of the pictures you could see like they put like lines over them, some of them, so that you could see able like I think the hummingbird might have maybe not like white lines over it. No. Oh, it was the monkey. The monkey has like a white line so you could see it very clearly.
Okay, so like if the statues of Easter Island are 30 tons, how are they able to move those but not the ones of Stonehenge or the pyramid, which are obviously less weight?
What do you mean?
Well, you said that they've proven in Easter Island that
They could have moved them.
they could have moved them. So why couldn't they have used the same stuff for Stonehenge or the pyramids, which weighed less?
I mean, that's a good point. They could have.
I don't.
I guess my biggest thing is why. I mean, I get the temples of the pyramids though. Why wouldn't you just dig down? I mean, because the pyramid, the top of the pyramids, the actual tombs are underneath the ground.
Right.
So why build the top of the pyramids so high?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like I'm with you there. I'm with you on some stuff. I don't know.
I don't
know.
fully buy into it either, guys. I'm not aliens guy for sure.
But
I do
also,
think there's lots of questions.
I feel like also because of our modern state, like our modern minds don't think like how the ancient people thought. So I feel like they could have been able to think of things that we just can't possibly fathom now because we have all this technology, we have all this. We're like, we can't do this with our stuff. How in the world did they come up with this stuff on their own? Aliens, you know, like because our brains have developed differently than they had back then.
Right, and they are probably more like open-minded to trying new things.
Yeah,
now we rely on technology so much. It's like
well, that's why the city in Mexico that you spoke, I don't know how to say it, so I'm not gonna try and butcher it, but that
Teotihuacan. I actually wrote it out too.
Teotihuacan. That's why I think that city is so fascinating because they were such ahead of their time. They were multicultural. They built this entire city with like modern aspects to it and then just disappeared. The part that gets me on that is that they disappeared. They left it. They did. I don't know. That's
why did
the
they leave?
Part. Yeah. Maybe they built the city for the aliens to come and inhabit.
Maybe
like a contract type thing. I don't know. I think
don't know.
That city is very fascinating to me.
And it's really cool, like looking at all the pictures and stuff like that. It's really neat to
very cool.
Anyways,
yeah,
that's it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, please remember to like us. Not like us, obviously like us, but like the podcast. Leave a review, leave a comment.
Let us know if there's any topics you want us to cover.
Yeah. Because like we're obviously open. I think we might start circling back around eventually, but there's so many things.
So,
and if you're watching on YouTube, hi guys. Hi. You got to watch me cough my lung up today. Please like and subscribe. Subscribing makes us so happy. We see new subscribers. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Our username is TTATA Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Also, next week we will be taking kind of like a lighter note on things and interrupt our rotation of topics and just kind of talk about our fears, our deepest fears. On that note, I'm gonna leave you with the quote of the day.
Just mute me.
Yeah, you will be. Don't worry.
Cool.
So my quote for this week is actually a Martin Luther King Jr. quote. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Which is very true. And
I like that.
And it's a good reminder for us today. Like, such a hateful society. We need more love.
Just gotta love each other, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.